He finally had everything he ever wanted, and then he opened a bottle of wine he had waited 15 years for. He couldn't taste it. Not because the wine was bad, but because something in him had already gone quiet.
Oh?
The Boy and the Festival. There was once a boy who grew up in a poor village at the edge of a long valley. The village had very little. Enough to eat most days, enough warmth most winters, but not much beyond that. Once a year at the harvest festival, the village baker made a single batch of fried pastries. Thin dough, pressed flat, dropped into oil heated since before dawn. They came out golden and blistered, dusted with coarse sugar that caught in the creases. One day only, the boy would wake before his family, position himself near the baker's stall and wait. The smell reached him long before the pastries were ready. He would stand in that smell for an hour, sometimes two before the first batch was done. When he finally ate one, still warm, the sugar dissolving on his tongue, he felt something he had no word for. It was not simply pleasure. It was the completion of a long wanting. The waiting was not separate from the taste. The waiting was the taste. The hours of anticipation had built something in him that the pastry, in a single moment, released. He went home afterward and thought about nothing else for days. He told himself, when I am older, I will be able to eat these whenever I want. He believed this would be an improvement. Nothing seemed wrong with that belief at the time. 2. The Ascent. He left the village at 17. He was not gifted with exceptional talent, but he had something that served him better. He was comfortable with discomfort. Years of wanting things he couldn't have had given him a tolerance for delay that others found difficult to sustain. He studied when others rested. He saved when others spent. He made decisions that sacrificed the present for the future, not because he was disciplined in any heroic sense, but because waiting felt familiar to him. By his mid-30s, he had built something real, income that surprised him, options that would have been unimaginable to the boy. Standing outside the baker's stall, he thought this was what success felt like. He could have, at any moment, ordered those pastries, a version of them better ingredients. A professional kitchen delivered the same afternoon. He did once. They were fine. 3. The Wine. On the evening of his 52nd birthday, he opened a bottle of wine he had been given 15 years earlier by a mentor who had since died. He had been saving it, waiting for the right moment. This night, he decided, was that moment. He poured a glass. He sat alone at the table and drank it slowly, the way he had imagined drinking it for 15 years. He could analyze it intellectually. The structure, the depth, the way it changed in the glass. All of it was exactly what it should have been. He felt nothing. He knew it was extraordinary. He also knew it no longer mattered. He sat with the glass for a long time. He thought about the pastries, about the hour of waiting in the cold, the smell arriving before the thing itself, the way the anticipation had been richer than the eating. He thought about the 15 years he had spent knowing he had this bottle, the occasional awareness of it in the cellar, the low background warmth of having something to look forward to. He had consumed that warmth, quietly, over 15 years of knowing. By the time he opened the bottle, he had already finished it. 4. The Substitution. This is not a story about ingratitude. He had worked hard. He had earned what he had. The wine was real. The success was real. But something had happened in the accumulation that no one had warned him about. Money, at a certain level, does something specific to time. It collapses distance. The distance between wanting and having, between imagining and experiencing, between the cold morning outside the baker's stall and the warm pastry in the hand. When he was a boy, that distance was long. It was filled with anticipation, with longing, with the particular texture of wanting something you cannot yet reach. That texture was not merely tolerable. It was generative. It produced something, a quality of attention, a depth of feeling, a capacity to be moved, that the having by itself could not replicate. Money had not given him more of that feeling. It had given him less. Not because wealth is wrong, but because wealth, systematically applied, removes the distances that feeling requires. He had optimized his life against waiting, and in doing so, he had optimized away the conditions that made arrival matter. The question was never what he had gained. The question was what he had quietly traded in order to gain it. In the age of AI, everything arrives faster. Every distance shrinks. Every wait is optimized out of existence. What we are building without meaning to is a world with no space left for longing. And longing, it turns out, was doing something important. The question we leave behind: what do you still want that money can't immediately give you? If the answer is nothing, that's worth sitting with. Not as a judgment. Not as a reason to feel guilty about what you've built. Just as information. Because the capacity to want something you don't yet have, to live in that distance, to let it build something in you, may be one of the few things that money, handled carelessly, actually takes away. One small thing. Name one thing you are looking forward to. That hasn't happened yet. Not something you could have tomorrow if you chose to. Something that requires time. Something that cannot be purchased or accelerated. Hold it there. Don't rush it. Let it be the thing you are moving toward. That distance is not a problem to be solved. It is the point.